All right, guys, so we have a Facebook whistleblower by the name of Frances Haugen, who is blowing the lid on Facebook and their internal operations regarding how they're not censoring enough, right? And because of this, it is now trending on Twitter, hashtag delete Facebook, because apparently Facebook is not censoring certain opinions, certain types of misinformation and hateful content enough. Now, 60 Minutes did a segment on this, and I want you guys to watch a quick clip from 60 Minutes in regards to this subject, and then I'm going to get into it. Take a look.
Frances Haugen told us she was recruited by Facebook in 2019. She says she agreed to take the job only if she could work against misinformation, because she had lost a friend to online conspiracy theories.
I never wanted anyone to feel the pain that I had felt, and I had seen how high the stakes were in terms of making sure there was high quality information on Facebook.
At headquarters, she was assigned to civic integrity, which worked on risks to elections, including misinformation. But after this past election, there was a turning point.
They told us, we're dissolving civic integrity. Like, they basically said, oh, good, we made it through the election. There wasn't riots. We can get rid of civic integrity now. Fast forward a couple months, we got the insurrection. And when they got rid of civic integrity, it was the moment where I was like, I don't trust that they're willing to actually invest what needs to be invested to keep Facebook from being dangerous.
Facebook says the work of civic integrity was distributed to other units. Frances Haugen plans to testify before Congress this week. She believes the federal government should impose regulations.
Facebook has demonstrated they cannot act independently. Facebook over and over again has shown it chooses profit over safety. It is subsidizing, it is paying for its profits with our safety. I'm hoping that this will have had a big enough impact on the world that they get the fortitude and the motivation to actually go put those regulations into place. That's my hope.
I lost my friend to conspiracy theories online, and therefore I don't like it. So we gotta censor everybody and every opinion that I don't like. If it's misinformation, we gotta take it down. I'm mad at Facebook for choosing profits over safety. Congress, you need to censor them. I demand that you censor them.
Bruh, these people are nuts. These people are insane, and this is the problem. Miss Frances Haugen, okay? She's a so-called whistleblower, okay? And on her website, it says that she is a advocate for public oversight of social media. Now, she initially blew the lid off on Facebook in regards to the effect that Facebook and Instagram is having on teenage girls, right? In regards to how they perceive themselves from a body and look standpoint, right? Like a bunch of teenage girls, going online, going on Instagram, looking at these, fake Instagram models, living these fake lifestyles, doing these fake things, and feeling bad about themselves. And I do legitimately think that's a real issue with teenage girls, right? In regards to the influence of Instagram, right? And apparently, Facebook is aware of that. Facebook studies this type of stuff and the effect that its platform is having on the mental health of people that are actually using the platform. So she blew the lid on that, okay? But then it went from that to now her big thing is, well, Facebook's not censoring so-called misinformation, divisive, and hateful content enough, right? She specifically cites the 2020 election, right? She talks about how they had like a department specifically for like monitoring what they deem as election misinformation and stuff like that. And then after the election was done, they disbanded that, right? They got rid of it, right? So then fast forward, January 6th happens, and then she comes out and she's saying, well, because Facebook didn't do their job, right? They're responsible for January 6th, right? Blaming Facebook for January 6th. And guys, trust me, I know it sounds like I'm defending Facebook, and I hate defending Facebook, but I am simply just like going after this person because these people are the problem, right? It's not necessarily what Facebook's incentive is, right? Their profit motive, because the profit motive is not to censor anybody. It's these woke revolutionaries internally at this company and these Democrats and these far left authoritarians that are the problem, right? So she's saying that Facebook, quote, knew that its algorithms and platforms promoted this type of harmful content, and it failed to deploy internally recommended or lasting countermeasures. She also goes on to talk about how its own research is showing that content that is hateful, that is divisive, that is polarizing is easier to inspire people to anger than it is to other emotions. She also says Facebook has realized that if they change the algorithm to be safer, people will spend less time on the site, they'll click on less ads, and they'll make less money. All right. So again, there's some interesting things that she's saying there, right? I think she's spot on about the fact that Facebook is aware that of its algorithms and how, when you show people certain types of content, how that drives more engagement. And that is especially true when it comes to politics, right? Facebook's aware of that. YouTube's aware of that. Twitter's aware of that. All these platforms are aware of that, right? If you guys ever watch the documentary, The Social Dilemma, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It talks about how social media is contributing to the polarization in our society. However, what I will say is that that is simply a consequence of free speech and the invention of social media, right? And I don't think it's just social media. I think that this type of so-called divisive content and the engagement that drives, it's not just social media. Has social media put it on steroids? Yes. But that's something that has always existed with the existence of media, guys, right? You mean to tell me that if you turn on MSNBC or CNN and you listen to Joy Reid or Don Lemon and Rachel Maddow, even again, Fox News as well too, throw them in that as well too. You can't tell me that all those media outlets are not trying to be divisive, right? They're not trying to drive engagement through sensationalizing certain news stories, right? Through running certain narratives. Of course they're trying to do that, right? That business model in practice is as old as media itself. That's nothing new. So yeah, she's right about that. And that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that is what happens, right? When it comes to social media and certain types of content, okay? Especially when it comes to politics. But however, my counter argument would be that yes, it's bad in some senses, right? In terms of making people more polarized, but that's a consequence of free speech, right? And I'm willing to accept that consequence because I would much rather have that than to have a world in which we have politicians in Congress dictating what these private companies can and cannot show people in regards to content and certain narratives. That is much more dangerous, right? And that's what people got to realize about certain policies. There are no solutions. There are only trade-offs, man, right? There's only trade-offs. Again, I would much rather have no censorship, right, or as little censorship as possible than to have censorship from Congress, okay, which is essentially what she's calling for. And we've already seen Congress try to do that. We've already seen Congress pressure these social media companies to censor certain content, particularly conservative content. Because, I mean, listen, there's a reason why I don't have a Facebook. The reason why I don't have a Facebook is when I started my channel, I saw how much Facebook was censoring conservatives. So I just didn't even start one because I was just like, it's not worth it, right? It's not even worth me having a Facebook because I just felt like I'm just going to get censored off the platform. So what's the point of even wasting time with it? That's how bad it is. So Facebook is already doing it. But this person upset because Facebook allegedly isn't doing it enough, right? Which has led to, trending topics on Twitter like, oh, delete Facebook, because leftists are upset that Facebook isn't doing enough to censor conservatives. Even though conservatives are censored all the time, conservative points of view are censored all the time. We face the brunt of the censorship. But again, to the left, that's not enough. They want more. They want more. So again, guys, it's interesting because we love to rag on the social media platforms for what they do in regards to censorship, but to be honest with you guys, it's not really them in the sense that they want to do that. That's not something that they want to do. It's not in their profit motive to do that. The problem is that you have these woke advertisers, right, who use these platforms to advertise. And then you also have the internal employees like these people and the woke revolutionaries, right, that are pressuring these companies to censor, that are pressuring these companies to go after so-called misinformation. That's what's actually happening. In the ideal world for these social media companies, they wouldn't do any censorship because that's what drives money, right? They're trying to make money. However, it becomes harder for them to make money when advertisers say, well, you know, we don't want our ads shown on certain types of content. That's why YouTube went through the whole ad apocalypse thing a couple years ago, in which a ton of people, you know, lost money because advertisers threatened to pull out of YouTube because YouTube was showing ads on certain type of content, right? So that's the real issue, right? That's the real issue. It's these woke advertisers, these woke internal employees, and the woke revolutionaries on the left that are pressuring these companies to do this. That's the problem. That's the problem. So, you know, this person right here, she's not a whistleblower because she's not saying anything that people didn't already know, right? Again, watch the documentary Social Dilemma. This stuff is very obvious. What she really is she's a far left activist, basically demanding more censorship and authoritarianism from Congress, right? Because she got triggered that her friend probably started listening to Alex Jones, right? That's what the problem is here. She's trying to force her beliefs and the fact that she feels bad about that on the rest of society. That's what's really happening. So she can go kick rocks, man, right? Get out of my face with this, right? We don't need more pressure for these social media companies to censor. They're already doing that. They're already doing it too much. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.